Live from Burbank, California. Welcome back, everybody, to Day 2 of the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series Season 2 Grand Finals. My name is Frodan, and once again, I'll be walking you through the weekend's festivities where one player will walk away as Season 2 champion and claim $10,000 and 100 World Championship points. Day number 1 was absolutely epic, as we expected it to be, as we had 4 players advance through. As 4 players were eliminated. In Group A, we had Trump and Demigod manage to push their way through. And group number B, we have Kit Kats and Domdus. Group B is a number. And we had a lot of fun there, although Kalento did end up falling. Today, we'll have the same exact thing happen in Group C and D. 2 players will go through per group, and ultimately we're going to have 8 players go through to the single elimination grand finals on day number 3. So take a look at how the schedule will break down. We're starting at 11 p.m. Pacific and going all the way till June 7th here at ESL_Hearthstone on Twitch TV. Make sure to hit the follow button and let your friends know all about what's going on. On day number 2, we're also going to have Group C with Reynad versus Roger, Roskaka versus Wulos, and Group D we have Life Coach versus The Rat, and Season 1 champion Sunstorm versus Phone Tap. And let's go ahead and break down what we can expect to see. Once again, for anybody watching Hearthstone for the first time, we use a format called Conquest, which is a best-of-5 format where you have to win with once with each deck. Once you win with the deck, it is eliminated for the rest of the series, but every game thereof is blind pick, so you don't have to stick on the deck. It's according to your choosing. Also, we want to remind you about the great prizing, about how it's going to be breaking down. We mentioned that $10,000 goes to the first place finisher, but we also have 230 World Championship points and $25,000 total for the entire weekend. We also want to remind you guys to stay engaged in the conversation by hashtagging HLS. Let us know about your feedback, your opinions, your favorite moments, as well as tweeting at ESL Hearthstone. If you're a really cool tweet, maybe we retweet it, maybe we feature it on stream. Depends on how things go, but the more clever you are, the higher your chances. And if so, you also get an opportunity to win some cool prizes with our raffle, ESL.gg/Season 2 Finals, where you can get some cool giveaways with our headsets and gear. Thanks to our sponsors, Plantronics and Gigabyte. Big shout out to them as they enabled us to do things that we love. And with that, we also want to welcome you guys. Enjoy yourselves. It's going to be a long day. We have plenty of great matches, and our first one promises to be absolutely a lot of fun. We have Reynad versus Roger. Now, this one is really cool, partially because, one, we know a lot about Roger as he's an up-and-coming player qualifying for everything, but we don't know too much about the rest of the group, so I can't wait to see what's going to happen with Oskaka and Wulos as well. So let's get ready for our first match of the day with our video as we introduce the group.
我的名字我叫 Roger， 然后我今年22岁，然后我是从台湾来的，然后我的战队是 Spider。这个 Roger 的名字是因为我自己的姓名也有姓罗，然后我希望我在这上面有杰出的表现，所以我就叫 Roger。像 Spider 的人，就是因为我们战队里面还有平平后，然后 他就是有帮我给我一些建议，然后看比赛要怎么准备，然后跟出国的一些困难。我这个比赛，我觉得我比较害怕的对手是 Kalento， 因为我上次输给了他，然后其他的选手我也都很想跟他们交流看看。第一个对手是 Reynad， 然后其实我也不太了解他，然后我会尽我的全力打败他。我最喜欢的就是 盗贼的那张准备，然后因为他当回合可以多做很多事，然后可以减3费法术。我最喜欢的就是盗贼，然后最早之前是在大概去年有一阵子盗贼很强的时候，我那时候就很喜欢一直玩盗贼。我觉得就是玩这个的时候最难的应该就是 你时常要去猜测对手想要做什么，然后 最难的时候，可能就是你对有些情况你不知道怎么应对的时候，你就必须要做一些选择跟决定，像是赌博啊这样。对，就像我一个人要去其他国家，这也是很难。对，就其实我不能跟他们聊天，然后说他们的语言，我觉得很可惜。然后就因为没有想过这语言之后会这么的重要，然后可能就 之后有时间就可能要去多学些其他的语言，然后这样以后有机会才可以跟他们 叫聊天啊，就当朋友，我觉得还蛮可惜的。对，不知道怎么说这语言，然后就其实也没有办法一起玩，就没有办法一起沟通。平常没有玩 Hearthstone 的话，就可能会去运动啊，就是打球之类的，然后或者是看看电影，然后还有玩看看网页，就也没有做其他的事情。他们就觉得很厉害，很不可思议啊！就是可以玩游戏玩得这么好，然后可以去其他国家看看不同的东西，他们觉得很棒。要是我赢的话，我就可能会回台湾去请朋友们一起大家先吃个饭，然后再把钱存下来，看看要做什么。就我还蛮感谢我的家人啊，还有我的一些队友给我一些建议，然后他们很支持我，然后让我出国。这样我觉得，像台湾他们玩的 Hearthstone， 他们的牌就是比较正常，就是比较一般的牌。然后像欧美洲他们玩，可能就是会玩比较不一样，放一些比较有特色的东西，就是感觉感觉蛮新鲜的，就是这样。就美国还有欧洲，就是他们玩的东西可能就比较新鲜，然后没有看过，就感觉很酷。我不知道我能不能就是赢到最后，但是我希望我可以拿一个冠军回去，就我还蛮希望的。
Wow, quite the stirring interview, and I had no idea Roger's voice was that deep. He gives me a run for my money. I sure hope he doesn't learn English too well because he might come after my job. I'm sitting next to Keaton Chalky Gill, who's also on the commentator's desk and did an excellent job day number 1. How you doing?
Doing pretty great. Excited for day 2.
It's great. What do you think about that interview with Roger? He even outright said that he wishes he could speak English more and connect and make some friends with the players. Have you been able to get to know him at all?
I haven't really gotten to know him, but I do know, he was willing to go out to dinner with us and, kind of wanted to hang out with all the players despite really having a language barrier between us. So, I think it's pretty cool that he's open to that kind of stuff.
Was he able to touch your stone cold heart?
Oh man, I might have teared up a little during that video.
Absolutely. It definitely touched me as well. And, of course, his opponent, Reynad, we didn't get an opportunity to sit down with him. I believe he is here in the studio, though, getting ready for the first match. What do you think about the first matchup here in Group C?
Well, I think Reynad and Roger are both really good. Roger's been qualifying for a ton of stuff, and Reynad had a dominant run through his group. So both players kind of just coming into this off the back of some good recent performances. Don't really, have much to prove, but I know Roger's one player that a lot of other pro players are never really disappointed by, and it's just every time we watch, we're just like, good play, great play. And so I think we'll see a lot out of him.
What storyline excites you the most? We have Reynad, Roger, Oskaka, Doubulos, and then Group D we have Life Coach, The Rat, Silent Storm, and Phone Tap.
Well, I think Group D actually excites me the most. It has two kind of new players that are really looking to make a name for themselves in Phone Tap and The Rat, as well as two really strong players and Life Coach who just came off a win at Via Game, and Silent Storm who's the Season 1 champion. So kind of a story of new versus old, some people trying to kind of defend titles, and I think that'll be a really competitive group.
Silent Storm has to win because he defeated some really impressive people on his run last season, correct?
Yeah, Silent Storm had a pretty tough run here. He beat me, so cheering for him a bit. Hopefully he can maybe defend his title.
All right, and that's a great way to wrap up our little preview, at least for now. Until then, we're going to head over to our commentators, Crip, Azumo, and Firebat, who are waiting with our first match.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Dan and Chalky. And welcome, guys, once again to the Hearthstone Legendary Series Season 2 Finals. Of course, my name is Azumo. I'm joined by Crip and Firebat. How you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good. I have to say I was actually very impressed by the interview. I think attitude you can really see when people have it, in the right direction. Roger really very relaxed, very calm, focusing on the right things. Not even in Hearthstone, he realizes, language is such an important thing. With, being internationally driven in the Hearthstone scene.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. I was just overall very impressed. Reynad's been doing pretty well recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, Reynad's been doing pretty well. He qualified, I think, was it 3-0 or 4-0 qualifying to get to this?
Yeah, he had a really impressive run through his week. So, and he had that sort of infamous speech at the end where he said, "Oh, I played Patron for the first time." This is proof that anybody can win a week. So hopefully he prepared a little bit more for this one because it's going to be a really tough road ahead of him. And yeah, Roger, he's been at the studios pretty much every day, and he talked about he has trouble connecting with players that speak English because he just never took the opportunity to learn. And
but we had a few translators for him. Like he's been social. He's been somewhat connected. Just
I was trying to get him to teach me Chinese. Him and Soundstorm, who also speaks Chinese, they were trying to teach me some Chinese. I learned how to say orange soda, but I already forgot. What a shame.
Was it orange soda?
No, it was something that
sometimes those have easy transitions.
Yeah.
You know,
I learned how to say hello, words. Ni hao. So every time I see him, that's what I say, and I'm pretty sure he's getting tired of it.
I was also a bit interested from Roger's comments about him being from Taiwan. He's very familiar with the locals that he plays against, but he sees very unusual things in America and Europe. Maybe you know something about that, Firebat. Like, what is the scene in Asia?
Well, whenever I've played against Asian players, they always run a lot of tech cards. You can always expect to see things like Harrison Jones, Black Knight, and Kazan Mystic in most of their decks, which is very unusual for here because Black Knight's been out of the meta for a very long time, and there's not too many decks running Kazans unless it's in a weird format like the Via Game House Cup format had a lot of Kazans in it. So, yeah, I think that's more the thing, and I think Patron Warrior took a lot longer to really even take off in Asia, if it even has taken off in Asia yet.
Do you think having a lot of tech cards is really like a negative thing? Like, it seems a lot of people have brought the tech cards to this tournament so far, and they haven't really been punished for it yet.
I definitely think it's a risk. I'm not saying it's a risk in a good way, or it's like, depends what the people end up bringing. Sometimes they can pay off huge, and then you just like snowball and win a series, or sometimes they backfire and you lose. So it depends on what decks you're going up against, but I do think if you're running like 3 different tech cards in one deck, it's going to cause for some clunky draws. So I think you really got to try and focus on 1 or 2 maximum.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit yesterday. It's better if you sort of have a singular goal instead of trying to counter everything at once. It's better to sort of focus on one specific thing. And we look back at the Season 1 Legendary Series LAN Finals where we had 2 Taiwanese players, Weifu and Pimpingho. And we actually saw Roger talk a little about Pimpingho in his interview and how they practice a lot. And they both brought Weifu and Pimpingho to the Season 1 Finals. They both brought a lot of tech cards. It was something that did happen. And they didn't have much success in that tournament. I believe they both went out pretty early on. And it was because when they faced off against decks that their tech cards were useless, so they would get caught with a bunch of dead cards in their hand. So,
yeah.
Not sure how that's going to work out.
Yeah, decks definitely should have a purpose, a goal in mind. So you have a build-up and then a solid end game. You can't just be like, I want to beat everything, because that's not how Hearthstone works.
Now, we predicted a lot of people would play mid-range-ish Hunter and Patron Warrior, while, there was quite a bit of variation from that. Like, a lot of people played Control Warrior.
Yeah.
A lot of people played different versions of Hunter than mid-range. But, like, the classes weren't far off. Like, it turned out that just about everyone was playing Hunter and Warrior, so it seems like some of the tech cards will be pretty successful in this tournament, at least if today has a similar showing as yesterday.
Yeah, but we saw yesterday, though, who was it? It was Demigod. He didn't have that many tech cards, but his entire lineup was focused around one single goal, which was kind of like knocking out Hunter and Handlock, which were countered at the exact same time by the same tech cards. Whereas, like, people that just had a single tech card thrown in there being like, this will probably be good against those matchups, didn't have the same amount of success.
Yeah.
So, there's...
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. To give a little bit of a history of how these guys qualified, Reynad made it through the Legendary Series regular season week number 3. He was one of the invited players for that week, and he was one of the most successful players. He 3-0'd a few opponents. He had one of the highest win rates throughout his week. Roger made it through one of the Legendary Series weeks through the Open, but he ended up losing. So he came back for the Redemption Tournament and actually won Redemption Tournament number 3. So he's played actually quite a few games to get where he is, since originally he had to make it through the 250-plus player Open, then played through the Legendary Series, and then played through the Redemption week. So he's had quite a long road to get here. And I'm really looking forward to see how he's going to do, because it was really cool to sit down and talk with him. We had the translator with him when we conducted the interview, and it was really cool to see some of the things that he said and some of the things that differed from not even just in Hearthstone, but just the tournament scene in Taiwan compared to abroad, since Roger's gotten to travel quite a bit.
We also talked about how Roger was just involved in just a crazy amount of tournaments recently. He's really, just spent all of his time trying to get into the tournament scene, and I mean, we have him here, so it is doing very well for him. Reynad, strikingly like Trump, has just been doing really well recently. Been in the Hearthstone scene for a long time, been doing pretty well throughout, but more so recently. And Trump did okay.
Yeah,
so far.
Pretty good.
If I had to say an analysis on Reynad's tournament performance, it seems like a lot of times he focuses on a lot of other things in Hearthstone rather than just tournaments, and then sometimes he just focuses on tournaments for a little while because he's got he's Reynad, he's huge, he's got so much going on for him.
Yeah.
And when he focuses on tournaments, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. So I wouldn't be surprised, since he's been doing well lately, that he does very well in this tournament.
We also talked about how the Conquest format kind of takes away some of the necessary preparation a little bit, and without bans, it takes it away even more.
Yeah.
So how much preparation do you think is really required for something like this if you want to take it as seriously as you can?
Seriously as you can? Well, you've seen the different approaches. You can do the approach where you have to bully a deck out, which is going to require you to make 3 completely new non-standard decks. Or then there's the approach where you can just play the 3 standard best ladder decks and then just throw in some tech cards.
It's worked for some other players.
Yeah, so it's worked, but we've seen it work both examples of it, and one of them is a lot harder to do. It's a lot harder to make 3 completely new concepts to bully.
Do you feel it's
deck.
that much more effective to do that, though? Or it seems about the same.
It's about the same,
Yeah.
So it's not that much more effective, but it's 5 times as much preparation, whereas just throwing in a Harrison Jones, because there's going to be Warriors and Hunters, into the most common ladder decks takes 5 minutes. So
You got to prepare a little bit, though.
You got to know how to play the deck, sure.
Okay.
But the actual tweaking and making the decks does not take very much time.
Yeah.
Okay.
The players are ready, but we're dealing with a small tech issue, so it's going to be just a few more moments before we're able to actually jump into that match. But across the past day, for day 1, we actually had a little segment going on called Frodan versus the World.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I believe we ended the day with a 1-1 score with Frodan versus the World. And what that is basically the players, or some of the Hearthstone players that have come to watch the LAN finals, have the opportunity to actually challenge Dan. And so far, he's actually been having some troubles, but we're actually going to throw it over to Frodan, who's standing by over by the player area.
Yeah, I'm 1-1. I sat here all day and I managed to win 1 series and lose 1 series. That's definitely the story and narrative we're going to go. I'm here over in the Fireside Gathering area where there's 8 PCs free for people to use. So if you're interested over in the crowd area, or if you're watching at home and you realize that Burbank's not far away, come on down and play me for some packs. Yesterday we had a lot of fun. We met a lot of the fans. Some of the players were sitting here too, giving some coaching or building fun decks, or even trying hard and showing people how to actually play some Hearthstone and climb the ladder. It's a really fun environment, so we encourage you guys to play. Yesterday, I think the highlight of my day was I got to use Wind Speaker and I killed somebody for about 29 damage on turn 6. That was awesome. So I hope you guys are enjoying it so far, but I'll be here all day, so make sure to come on by, say hello, and play some Hearthstone. That's what we're here for to do. So I'm going to give it back over to TJ. I think they're almost ready. And I hope you guys enjoy the first match. I think it's going to be a really good one. Roger versus Reynad is going to be fun. So don't steal all the fun, because I want to. If you guys aren't doing a good job commentating, I'm going to go over and do it for you. What do you think?
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Frodan here.
Yeah. Frodan's pretty
He's
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's all right.
But yeah, the tech issues have been resolved, so we should be moments away from jumping into that first match between Reynad and Roger. And Group A, the entirety of Group A is Reynad, Roger, Osaka, and Double Os. So who do you guys think is going to come out on top?
I'm actually pretty excited about this first match. Both players have been doing really well recently, and I think, as we talked about, they're both kind of peaking right now. They're really spending a lot of time trying to prepare and do well for these tournaments. So I think this match is going to dictate a lot. I kind of have to root for Osaka to take the second match, though.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I think Osaka is going to be favored in the second match. He's been performing really good all the time, and he's just really active on both NA and EU ladder. And so I really think he's going to have Patron down, Even though he's not like known as like a patron player, I've never actually seen him play it before. But just the amount of time he puts into the game, I gotta imagine he's gonna have a really solid performance. And I think as far as Roger versus Reynad, off the first match is gonna decide which one of them is probably gonna be more favored to take the other slot in the group.
All right, well, we are jumping into game number 1 of the first match of the day. Roger on the Warrior, and Reynad is going to be playing what looks like Hybrid Hunter with the Glaive Zuka, but could just be more mid-rangey, especially with Lotheb in there.
How does this match play? I mean, we talked about these two being V-dominant decks. Now, when they clash against each other, it doesn't seem too one-sided in any direction, does it?
No, it's pretty 50-50. It's fairly up in the air. If the Hunter is able to put on enough pressure to force the Warrior to use their Whirlwinds, use their combo pieces, yeah. Because if the Warrior ever runs out of card, the Warrior is dead. The Warrior needs combos to draw cards. He needs Acolyte plus something to trigger the Acolyte to draw off the Acolyte, more than one card, and he needs something to trigger Battle Rage to like damage his minions so he can draw more than one card. So the Hunter is basically trying to pressure him into a position where he's unable to draw more cards and refuel.
Now, the Glaive Zuka seems like a pretty good pressure card. Why do you think Reynad threw that away so quickly?
He really needs a 2-drop or a 1-drop to go with it. It doesn't work very good on its own.
And he whiffed.
Yeah, he whiffed.
Yeah,
That's pretty rough.
Hard whiff.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest hand in the world.
Yeah, at this stage in the game, when you use the coin, you often have to think about at least the next 3 turns in terms of curves.
Yeah, I like using the coin here, though, because you got 2, 2, and 2. So really just getting that Loot Hoarder out there, cycling it as soon as possible. It also challenges Knife Juggler, so you don't have to take that to the face and take 3 damage.
I think it's also a big deal because he has the 3-drop.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the 3-drop, I think saving the coin may have been a better choice, just to have the double 2 instead of the 3 from the coin.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is really important here. Reynad actually, he didn't have any other plays, and he top-decked Haunted Creeper, but instead of playing it right away, he actually took a moment to pause and mouse over a couple of his other cards to sort of give the illusion that he had more plays than just Haunted Creeper. Because in the long run, it could end up making Roger make inefficient plays if he thinks that Reynad's going to be applying more pressure than he actually will be.
It's a very easy bow killing Aerosmith.
Yeah. Definitely got to get rid of that as soon as possible. Otherwise, they start stacking a lot of armor. And you do need to kill them before they make a billion patrons.
Yeah.
A billion.
Yeah, Hunter is really effective, and the reason it's so is because it's very hard to remove all the little things they play, like the multiple creatures in one. But the Grim Patron, they multiply off of those creatures.
Yeah, they kill all of them.
Was this a kill command target?
I do kind of like the kill command here, just because when else are you going to really use kill command in this match? And that way you get to save the bow since you don't have really time to re-equip. Unless you're re-equipping this turn, of course.
Yeah.
So, lines up really good with Belcher.
What do you think about Unleash?
I don't like using Unleash here.
He's just a better spot leader.
Yeah, usually against Patron, if they get their Dream Patron turn, you're going to need that Unleash to be able to threaten to race them. Because oftentimes they use their Whirlwind effects and stuff to trigger the Patrons, and then they don't really have much to clean up the Unleash the Hounds. Or they have enough Patrons that you can actually just go all face and start racing at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I think the kill command would have resulted in a better turn, but if you use the kill command, then you don't have that additional burst.
Yeah.
So it seems like Reynad is just going for the sneaky kill.
Yeah, it seems like it. He's already got the Unleash the Hounds, so it makes sense.
Seems inefficient to use the Glaive Zuka, but he realizes that he's probably not going to have many opportunities over the next couple turns to develop it, since he's got like double Sludge Belcher in his hand, and even Unleash the Hounds kill command for a possible turn 6 play. So it's goes ahead and develops it now, even though he most likely wastes the extra 1 damage because it's not on like a charge creature. But
well, right now both players have close to nothing, and they're just trying to very desperately keep something on the board.
Yeah. Neither player got the Dream at all. And double inner rage back-to-back is really weak.
he does have ways to utilize the inner rage with the Acolyte of Pain, but
yeah, that's definitely not optimal, though. You don't really want to just cycle it, because that's all you're basically doing when you use it on Acolyte of Pain, is just removing it from your deck and drawing.
The thing is, you might be forced in that position even next turn, though.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the Hunter wants to do. And he's not really pressuring him, more so that the Warrior's just not drawing anything to play.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen a Huffer.
I think we saw a Huffer.
One Huffer?
Yeah, we saw one, when I was casting, we saw one Huffer, and it got like it got buffed +1/+1 somehow. I don't remember how. It was a 5/3 Huffer.
Wow.
Oh, it was a banana. That's right.
A banana. Buff the Huffer.
Yeah, it was a web spinner
Oh, okay.
into
yeah.
Mukla. Mukla died. Mukla's played, and the Huffer got buffed with a banana.
Okay.
Those are the Hunter Mirror Trump versus Koyuki.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. That was the only Huffer, I think.
And it was a pretty irrelevant Huffer from what I remember.
Those are words that you don't hear very often.
Yeah. I think it was a Huffer into like a taunted high main or something, from what I remember.
Ouch.
Alright. Finally gonna draw that card off Accolade of Pain.
It seems like a pretty rough hand, though. It's just very reactive. He doesn't have things to do to really apply pressure besides the Frothing Berserker, but no Warsong Commander to give a charge. Not many effects besides just the Inner Rages to make it do more damage.
I don't know, he's got a lot of damage now.
Yeah.
14 damage out of hand from the Warrior.
What do you think he could have drawn to maybe play over the Frothing there? Because he chose to play the Frothing after dealing some of the damage.
I think he just did that to ensure that the Frothing wasn't down to 3 health. But for 3 mana, I don't know, he could play like Armor Smith or Loot Hoarder, another Accolade of Pain, something like that.
So it's going to come down to a race. And since Roger has
Yeah, Roger's winning right now.
a ridiculous amount of damage coming from his hand with the Grom double Inner Rage.
Reynad doesn't.
Well, all of that damage can be stopped by a single Freezing Trap.
Yeah, that's true. Or a Houndmaster.
Yeah, any taunt too. So.
Yeah. He's got ways to get through it, but it's really inefficient.
Yeah, now there's a taunt and a freezing. 2 taunts
Two
and a freezing trap.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to make that Grom connect.
It's time for some Grim Patrons.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't even know if Grim Patrons are going to help him much, because you'd have to have... Well, no, because he's got both Inner Rages, so... he'd be able to get a bunch, but no Warsong Commander to be able to bounce him off the Slime and the 1/1 Hound here. And again, like you talked about earlier, if he's having to use his combo pieces like Whirlwind and Inner Rage to
He does
clear the
have
board.
to. He
Yeah.
does have to.
Well, he could use like maybe Execute.
He's using Execute.
Oh, he's using Execute on
Yeah.
that. I was thinking about trying to execute the taunts. Basically feels like he's under so much pressure.
He is under. He's going to be under so much pressure for a couple more turns too, because he has to find a way to develop a creature, proc the Freezing Trap, and then do enough damage that Grom Inner Rage actually kills him after the Freezing Trap is proc.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think Huffer would be the worst Animal Companion here. Because it's the only one that can actually deal with immediately.
It's always Misha.
Misha's excellent. That's the
Always
best one.
Misha.
Yeah, that's the best one in this situation.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
Oh.
not.
You still can't really set much up.
Yeah, he still needs to beat this Freezing Trap somehow.
Yeah.
Without drawing a minion, it's going to be really tough. I guess next turn he can just proc it with Grom and then Armor, and then he has Lethal set up.
Well, he won't, because there's
Because
The
there's another
second Freezing Trap, yeah.
but to his knowledge, he'll have Lethal set up.
Yeah.
Powder Shred's pretty good just because it's pretty sticky. It won't even... at least something will be left behind from the Deathbite swing if that's what he decides to go with.
No, there's no lethal. It's 16. One off.
Yeah, it's 1 off, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad. He's going to swing here, because he has the Inner Rage to enrage it again. So just in case it happens to be like snakes or something, might as well hit for 10, right? Also sets up for the Shredder to trade with the Loot Hoarder. Pretty good.
He sort of has to trade into the Loot Hoarder here. Oh man, that's rough.
Well, he might think there's no way he can enrage his Grom now.
That's true. He's been holding on to that Inner Rage for a long time now.
I kind of like the face hit. Like, doing 8 to the Warrior here is pretty big. And, like, how do you take 13 with a Freeze Trap up?
I can't think of it either. With a 10 mana Grom and
Yeah.
only 1 Inner Rage left, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah. I think face hit is the game-winning play.
Yeah. Definitely face hit and just Freezing Trap the Loot Hoarder.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's kind of bad to Freeze Trap a 2-drop, but at least it won't draw.
Yeah, and you're setting up Lethal, probably.
Yeah.
On board, anyway.
Yeah, that's true. He's going to have, yeah, with the hero power plus the 6 damage on board, since the loot hoarder is getting frozen, he'll have to trade in. Oh no, he wouldn't even be able to do that.
Oh, the Belcher off the
Wow.
top. What a lifesaver.
Well, he doesn't die as it stands.
Now that he has the Belcher. But yeah, you could have Grom the 2-1.
So if he
Failed.
Belchers this
No,
turn,
then he still dies.
No. You could interrange
Yeah,
the 2-1
yeah,
and Grom
interrange.
before 2.
Yeah.
I think it's now he has lethal. Reynad has to get something really good out of the Shredder to stay alive.
Like a Noyatron.
Not that. That's going to do it.
wow.
Wow.
Super close game.
Gonna get in with the slime
It wasn't the
for
most
the lethal.
wasn't the most exciting game since they both had just kind of like crap draws and it was just like
That's okay.
grindy.
Yeah.
I kind of like there's more strategy when that happens because you have to work with napkins, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's more of like a value game at that point. You have to like take each creature the furthest.
Yeah, like if you have the perfect draw, the game just plays itself. But with terrible draws from both sides,
There's a lot of
that's the most
decisions.
exciting way to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no combos whatsoever from either
Yeah.
player. It's just junk. And yeah, it seems like Reynad got a little bit worse on the junk meter because he did. I think he played great.
Yeah, seemed solid.
Yeah.
But that one turn where he had the freezing trap up and then he top decked the other freezing trap.
That's just bad luck.
Yeah, if that was any minion, then he's probably gonna have enough pressure
that was
to get
high
Any
main.
card.
Yeah, any card besides freezing trap.
Yeah,
Then he's probably able to pressure him out of the game.
probably gonna win.
Yeah.
If he drew high main, like any of those last like 6 turns, it
Yeah.
would have just been pretty much game.
That's
But
how it is sometimes.
yeah, Roger's going to take a 1-0 lead in the series. So not out of the woods yet. I'm sure Reynad won't find too much trouble getting one with that Hunter.
Yeah,
as the
still
series
anyone's game.
progresses.
I mean, these are the two dominant decks.
Mm-hmm.
One of them has to win, but the other one's still gonna win sometime.
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly. The real story is going to be like the other deck that's not
The
Hunter
third
Warrior.
deck.
Yeah.
The third deck.
What? Do you remember the third deck that wasn't?
I don't know if we saw that.
We
And
saw
if we
it
did,
very
I
briefly
wasn't paying
before the
attention.
before
Okay.
the tech issues happened. So
Yeah.
once
see
we
it
know
again
their
in a
next
minute.
decks, we'll see the matchup play.
Yeah, we'll see
be
it
able to see.
in just a second here anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, actually. We got Mage versus No Hunter on Roger's side. He's got Warlock Druid. Even though
Interesting.
Roger might be ahead on the points here, he might not be too favored after that.
Yeah, I feel like Patron Warrior, Midrange Hunter, and Mage are all generally pretty good against Druid as long as
Yeah.
it's not a Freeze Mage.
Yeah, it's probably Tempo Mage.
Yeah.
Some kind of the token Tempo Mage with like Mechanical Yetis, Flame
Mm-hmm.
Wakers.
Those are very good against Druid.
Very good against
Reynad's
Druid.
played a lot of different mages too. You
Yeah.
can't really count out really any variation.
Yeah, I've seen him play Freeze, I've seen him play Tempo, I've seen him play Mech Mage,
Flood Mage.
yeah, Flood Mage, some weird mages.
Yeah.
yeah.
And none of them too terrible.
Yeah, none of them bad, especially when you don't know what's coming. It adds a lot to it.
All right, well, he's going to queue up the Hunter this time around. Roger's going to go with the Druid, try and pick up one with that. But as you mentioned, this is probably going to be the toughest deck for him to find a win with.
Well, you got the Shade. Just need a little bit of help. And nope.
No help at
No
all.
help at all.
I mean, he could still draw an Innervate.
Yeah, it's still not much from Reynad's side. Like, that is still a junk opener.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Druid, yesterday in day one, did not have much success at all. It had an abysmal win rate. I think the Druid, one of the only games that Druid won was in the mirror matchup. So at least one Druid had to win.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not actually surprised when the two top decks in the meta both beat Druid. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about in Conquest lineups the bullying strategy all the time. So you're like, all right, the two main best decks in the format, I'm going to bring those. And they both beat Druid. So what's another deck that maybe I just throw in there that happens to also beat Druid?
Yeah.
And then
Mage Rogue.
and if someone happens to bring Druid, you're just insanely favored against them.
Yeah.
Right. That was actually Reynad's strategy quite a few tournaments in the past. He's always like bullied Druid because it's easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that beat Druid.
Yeah.
It's always been the deck that people have sort of gone to because of the... It used to be a lot more consistent than it is now because there's more decks that beat it, but it was also a comfort pick for a lot of players because they were used to playing it so much because of how consistent of a deck it was. So even when it
It's
wasn't
also
the
a deck
best,
that, like, even though it gets bullied a lot, it has a chance against basically anything with like the God draw.
yeah, you can always double innervate out an Emperor Thorson.
Yeah.
Even the double shade here, like, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely anybody's game at this point.
So we haven't really seen some of the cards that sort of indicate that it's the really hybrid hunter. We saw Glaivezuka, but I don't think we've seen
Belcher. That's the key that shows that it's mid-range.
Mid-range, yeah.
Yeah.
Abusive Sergeants could sort of go either way, but
Yeah, definitely either way.
Glaivezuka as well. But yeah, Belcher's definitely. And Dr. Boom also. A lot of times the hybrid
Do you
hunter
like the
top side of
doggies
high
here?
mix. Doggies.
Take a 1 in 3, kill Sylvanas with the doggy hunter's mark.
I don't think it's bad. How else are you dealing with Sylvanas, right?
Well, you either deal with Sylvanas that way or just ignore Sylvanas, which often turns into a disastrous situation.
Yeah. Like, this is a scary druid board. They have 3 minions on the field. Savage Roar is already stacking up to be a lot of damage, so your choices are either you got to race them down before turn 9, because if they have like any minions in the field on turn 9, you're dead.
Yeah.
Or you have to kill everything before turn 9. So you got to make
that's
the
just
decision.
not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening here. So I think I like the race plan a little bit more, but you don't have the hand or the tools really to race that much.
He's got kill command, but like no charge minions. He doesn't have a weapon to refresh after this Eaglehorn bow is gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind honestly like freezing trap Houndmaster and then just go face and pray that you can kill him before turn 9. But I can see merits to trying to control the board as well.
Oh, he got the Hound.
Okay. Yeah, this is a good play, because if you get another Hound, you keep up a nice freeze.
Yeah, it turned out really well.
No, 1 in 3.
1 in 3.
Now he's able to keep up his bow as well.
There was 1 in 3 options there where it would have turned out not really well at all. Yeah.
If he sold a Sludge Belcher, that was pretty much game.
That was
Yeah,
game.
that was GG. You can freezing trap the Druid of the Claw instead.
Seems like a good option.
Yeah, because these shades are already. Ooh. The shades
Well, if you
are
put
already
it
going
in
to be
taunt,
more
you can maybe
damage.
freeze trap a Boombot.
Ah, not bad.
That's quite a few turns away, though.
Next turn.
It's just next turn.
Well,
You've seen the Unleash the Hounds.
he has to play the Dr. Boom, and then he has to wait till the next turn to proc the freezing trap.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
So he can't attack with anything until then, if that's his plan.
I think his decision to taunt it up is heavily influenced by the fact that one, Reynad didn't go for the aggressive line, so he has more time, so he can go with this line. And 2, Reynad used the Unleash the Hounds, and it's very common that there's only 1 Unleash the Hounds in mid-range Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like just swipe something. I don't like getting frozen there on the shade. It just kind of makes it useless.
Yeah.
You got to freeze something, and I don't know if he can wait a whole nother turn before he does it. And I think he wants to preserve the taunt because of the damage that it blocks, since he's already at 17
still,
health.
I think if you're getting frozen here, you want to play the swipe because you want the Boombot to hit something that you freeze.
Because if you just play Dr. Boom and pass here, there's a chance
If
you're
you
dead.
play Dr. Boom, I think you do pass.
Yeah. Does he have lethal setup if he plays Dr. Boom and passes? Assuming Boom and
He's
the
got
2 shades
17
survive?
damage if he only has an Owl. Owl is just lethal on board. Even Hunter's Mark is if he has a little bit of damage, and I think that is.
Yeah, it's a double kill command.
Yeah, because he can just get through, right?
He doesn't have a beast, but
It doesn't matter. He's got
he's got
12 damage on board, 15 with the
a
weapon,
double kill
17
command
with
just
the
kills
power.
the Druid of the Claw.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you wouldn't want to do that. I think you want to do some combination with the. No, you can't do it with the 1/1.
I mean, it's just lethal. You just double kill command the
Double
Druid.
kill command hero power.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
you gotta go
lethal.
for the PM.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
Of course.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
You're thinking on another level than us.
In tournaments, it's just like the cleanest way is usually just best.
Can he do it now?
I'm sure. Yeah, you can just bow it and then run the Belcher in. It's
Yeah,
still the same
as long
thing.
as he puts up his damage. As long as he puts exactly 6 damage into the
Yeah.
Druid of the Claw here, he's got it. So, all right, Reynad is going to find a win with the honor and tie up the series 1-1.
Yeah. So Roger tried that greedy line to try and beat the freeze trap there, and really got punished with it since Reynad had both kill commands,
Yeah.
or at least
Yeah.
some way to get through the taunt.
Well, I mean, from his side of things, it's kind of unusual there to get double kill command. And
Yeah.
like 1 beast, 1 kill command is much more likely. And you play around that, kind of.
Yeah, he played around that. That wouldn't have killed him sometimes.
Kind of, because the Boombots.
Yeah, the Boombots could have still killed him.
Yeah.
Just
Owl
an
could've
owl
killed
would
him.
have killed him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a
It's like 75% of Hunter decks probably run Owl, and it's like a one of in mid-range Hunter if they do run it. So, and you already saw the Hunter's Mark, which is the one of too. So I think it's reasonable not to be too scared. And it's a matchup where you're unfavored. So taking risks is how you win. Like, you have to take risks.
Yeah, like if he took that risk and it paid off, he probably would have just won off the Savage Roar.
That's true.
Yep.
He had a ridiculous amount of damage. He would have had a 7 damage shade and a 6 damage shade the following turn. So
Plus 2 on each.
Yeah, that's a lot.
that's pretty ridiculous.
That basically just kills you by itself.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, Roger still has the Warlock and still has to find one with the Druid. Reynad, on the other hand, has Mage, which we've yet to see what type of Mage it is.
And his
and
Warrior.
Warrior himself. So he's going to queue up the Warrior. And Roger, once again, is going to throw out the Druid. And this is going to be the deck that's sort of a liability for him in this matchup. It's kind of rough. Going to be...
now, what if it's a Control Warrior? Control Warrior doesn't do very well against Druid.
No, Control Warrior is awful against Druid. Like, not as bad as it was pre-GVG, since you have things like Shield Maiden for that extra life gain.
Yeah.
But still not the best matchup. You can't really deal with Piloted Shredder very effectively, and you cannot deal with them just comboing you for 14 or 22.
Now, TJ was mentioning that Reynad getting here is basically on the back of Grim Patron Warrior, but it so happened to be the first time he played it. Seems like, knowing Reynad, he'd probably just play it here again.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, he said Reynad, of course, known for having a full golden collection of the cards that he plays. And he said right before, or halfway through the tournament, he realized that he had to craft the golden patrons because he'd only played the deck twice before he actually won his week.
I mean, there's some cards you just get a lot of value for being golden. Like Golden Patron, it's not just the Golden Patron; it's the 6 more you make. It's very good.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Very valuable card.
Definitely agree.
It's like the Imp Master, you know? Golden Imp Master, not impressive, but then you get Golden Imps.
I miss the days when Imp Master was actually played in like Token Druid.
This Druid hand, by the way, is looking a lot better.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, looking a lot better than last game.
Innervate Shade into Wild Growth. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
He just needs to draw one big threat.
Yeah, an Ancient of Lore would be pretty sick.
Be disgusting.
He could actually Ancient of Lore next turn.
Yeah.
Or
refill his hand.
Dr. Boom wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. You know, just about anything. Emperor Thor's hand could be pretty good.
I don't know about that. It doesn't really hit much.
It hits a Force of Nature.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. Keeping an Acolyte on curve against Patron Warrior is really, really good. Because Druid's a really high pressure deck, and you're denying a lot of their early game draw that gets them towards their combos. But he's already got his combos. So both players drawing exceptionally well.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're seeing both players play pretty quickly here.
Now, just the Grim Patron without charge against some classes is still effective
Boom.
enough.
There it is.
That's the Boomster.
Well, hello there.
Yeah, against Druid, oftentimes you don't need the charge. You just make 4 Grim Patrons and the game's over.
Yeah.
But with a Dr. Boom on the field already,
The
might
thing
be a
is,
little
like,
trickier.
if you get an Execute here, you still do that.
Yeah.
You see Reynad actually roll his eyes after that one. Because that's tough to deal with. Innervate Shade into Wild Growth into Innervate Dr. Boom.
I think you just go off and make the Patrons here.
Yep. And if some of them get hit by bombs, then maybe you won't hit for much and make some more patrons.
Yeah. That's the dream, the hope.
That's one of the best hands that you could ever have against Grim Patron Warrior. Because he had Innervate Shade into Wild Growth, into Keeper on curve against the Acolyte, into
Innervate
Dr. Boom.
Yeah, and the Patron still has a chance because it's that strong of a deck.
Yeah.
What now?
Do you think you maybe go for a kill onto Dr. Boom here? Because the Loot Hoarder's dying anyway. It's like 2 face damage.
Depends if you run like Big Game Hunter or if you run...
Or you can actually choose to... Oh, no. No. You can't clear that at all.
You can put the damage on the Boom with the Loot Hoarder, because that's more important than the face damage, I think, and then kill the Shade. Wouldn't mind that. I definitely would like to see some Patrons. Especially with Warsong Commander as the pickup there. If you live, it's really good.
Looks like he wants to play Belcher.
Alright. I can understand being kind of defensive here. You just took 7 to the face, but...
Yeah. Now he just lost the Whirlwind effect.
Yeah, with
3
the
more to the face.
10 to face.
That's rough.
Oh, Dr. Moon's pretty good. So is that card.
You know what, Crip? Let me go ahead and agree with you. Dr. Boom is pretty good.
Pretty good.
another patron.
Yeah, I really feel like playing patron last turn was gonna result in a better ending.
Yeah. It's really hard to get it down now.
Because he might just be dead if he Grim Patron, Inner Rage, Whirlwinds. Then yeah, he's gonna have 4 patrons, but he's not gonna even be able to clear off the shade. So
No, I think he uses Inner Rage and
On the
Whirlwind
shade?
on the shade.
Yeah.
And you just get 2 Grim Patrons on the board.
yeah, then they just get cleared by the Druid of the Claw, and all you need is a Wrath at that point.
You won't lose both your patrons.
Well, 1 to the Druid of the Claw.
What
And then
now?
1 to any removal spell.
Yeah.
Or Keeper of the Grove for another Druid of the Claw.
Is there a better
charge.
play though? Like I still think that's it.
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yikes. Everyone's not really getting in there.
No, they could have gotten in there last turn.
Yeah, I guess he just felt like he was under too
Wow.
much pressure.
Holy.
Well, if you do that, you're leaving patrons up, though, so that's kind of scary.
For the wild.
Alright, he dealt with the first wave. It wasn't really that big of a wave, but he dealt with it.
Interesting he values the coin hero power there. For the 2 damage, you could have saved the coin for possibly playing Scenarios.
Seems fine.
Well, it still looks like Roger's in a pretty dominating position. He's got him down to 9 health. He's got plenty of time with Ancient of Lore to draw him into more answers.
What do you think about just the YOLO Warsong Commander here?
Seems better than Execute.
The one thing that he might have going for him is if Roger plays Cenarius with the 2/2s, then he might be able to Warsong Commander and bounce some Grim Patrons in, but that's about his only hope.
I think this is where not having the coin is bad, because you really want Ancient Lore into like a Wrath.
Yeah, and Button turned green, so he didn't draw into Innervate or anything like that, so...
No?
Well, he does have a clear here while developing patrons.
He draws Deathbite as well, so his patrons live. He could be in an okay spot.
Everyone, get in here! Everyone, get in here!
Yeah.
So do you play Cenarius?
No, I think you have to get rid of that
That
patron.
is already attacked.
You have Warsong Commander and Patron right now.
Yeah. It's pretty scary.
See how fast that swipe hit him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means there was no other choice.
Roger plays fast as it is, though. He's, I guess when you play that many games, you start developing a habit of playing faster.
Well, you can Inner Rage here.
Getting rid of that Lothab, I guess. Play around Savage Roar.
Well, this is looking pretty bad for Reynad. His patrons are gone, and that's one of the best tools. He's got an empty hand. He's at 7 health. Even if he draws like a Battle Rage, he'll only be able to get a couple cards out of it.
No, he needs an Acolyte into like a Battle Rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's barely going to be able to get through this, and even if he does, he's still dead to just about everything. Frothing Berserker is not going to help him at all.
No? That looks like some help.
Yeah, he gets to kill the trees.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the Warsong Commander on the board.
And can kill Scenarius if he wants.
I think he plays the Weeb Scenarios up to actually maybe win this game.
Yeah, just start racing.
Yeah.
You have the Inner Rage for Gromash if you get him off the top.
So how much damage does he do?
Oh no, I think the Inner Rage is gonna get played on the other tree.
Oh, to save the Warsong?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be alive for the Frothing to still have charge.
No.
Yeah, but you get enough damage, yeah. So that's 10 damage this turn, but then there's nothing off the top that can kill your opponent. Unless you run Leroy Jenkins. Because
And he needs 1 damage to kill Reynad.
Well, I guess...
Wait, couldn't couldn't Reynad do one more face damage if he traded in the War Song and then interraged the Frothing?
Yes.
Wow. Getting greedy, wants to draw into lethal.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. Sure, there's a lot of outs. Ancient Lore's not one of them, though. Now he has to trade in the Cenarius. He could have kept that thing alive if he had Wrath the Fronting Berserker instead.
Yeah,
and
but
just
now he
traded
can
in.
heal himself, and then he's basically going to win this game.
Does he need to heal himself?
There's no one card that can kill him.
Yeah. Firebat said it's like, unless he runs Leroy Jenkins, which is pretty doubtful.
Yeah, the chances of Roger finding lethal here have got to be really, really good.
A single Savage Roar, second Force Nature if he runs one. Battle Rage, couple turns too late.
This is kind of the problem with this deck when you don't have cards.
Yeah.
You top deck Whirlwind
Yeah.
for your whole turn.
There it is. Alrighty, well Roger is going to take game number 2.
But most importantly, he's going to take a win with his Druid deck.
Yeah, that's a huge.
We said it earlier, sometimes Druids just win,
Yeah, he had.
and there's not much you can do.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous draw to start.
That was disgusting.
That felt like every time I queue up against Druid and ladder.
Yep. Raynad's probably feeling that exact way right now. Every time I face Druid.
Well, I don't know. Reynad just got up for the tournament, so I think he's got a decent night's sleep. I think there's some more terrible things that he can take until he's really in the salt mode. Yeah, but we'll see in a few games if that happens.
Yeah, we'll see if he loses the next one to a ridiculous draw as well. How he's going to be feeling.
It's what was the last deck?
Mage from Reynad, and Roger has
Warlock.
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 yeah.
Okay, that's right.
And
Probably Handlock is his
Yeah.
favorite deck by far.
Yep.
So,
Okay, I mean, you said Grim Patron kind of take anything, which it can.
Yeah.
But I'm still saying Handlock is one of the harder things to take.
Yeah, Handlock's pretty difficult to take. You're going to need to try and set up like a charge frothing turn most of the time, which can be pretty difficult under the pressure of 8/8s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Reynad didn't seem to have any sort of tech cards that were helping with the matchup with Handlock.
Yeah, no.
He was
Didn't
running
see too much of
Belchers.
the deck, though. I mean, he's played some of the Grim Patron deck, but he hasn't really gone through much of it.
Well, looking at the deck, it looks just like the deck that he used when he qualified, which was Just Sayance list, which ran the Sludge Belchers and no tech cards, like no Brawl, no Harrison, no BGH. He could have changed it because it's been quite a while since that's happened, like almost a month, maybe 3 weeks. So he could have changed it, but
Yeah.
from what I've seen, it looks almost identical to that deck that he.
I also
that he won.
wonder, back to that turn where we thought just playing a Grim Patron by itself was pretty good.
Yeah.
I wonder how the game would have played out if that happened. It would have been wildly different.
Yeah, it would have
Yeah,
definitely been different. Because then it's on Roger's turn to decide, is he going to go for trying to clear all the Grim Patrons, or is he going to try and just engage the race head on? So,
Yeah.
So even though Roger had a crazy draw, there were still opportunities for Reynad to make plays to better his position in the game and maybe even have a chance to win. So there was a moment later on in the game where Roger was a sort of top decking for lethal, and there was a few opportunities, especially if Reynad was able to contest the board earlier on. He might have been in a better position moving into those couple turns. So there was definitely opportunities, but he's got to sort of forget about that game for now because he's got a tough road ahead of him. He has to win
Mage.
2 times in a row with Handlock.
I think most Mage decks are pretty good against most Warlock decks.
yeah, definitely. Except for Zoo. A lot of Mage decks can struggle with Zoo, like Tempo Mage, Mech Mage. They really just get outvalued by the Warlock hero power and all the value minions.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they can get run over. But Freeze Mage beats all forms of Warlock, and
It's one of the reasons why
Yeah.
Mech Mage sort of fell off was because Zoo came back with
Yeah.
like Imp Gang Boss. Like as soon as Imp Gang Boss was released and people started to play Zoo again, Mech Mage just disappeared.
Yeah. It's not completely gone, but
No, but compared to where it was before that happened,
Yeah.
where Mech Mage was almost in every single player's lineup.
yeah.
I think Mech Mage was kind of fun at the start of GBG, but after a while,
Oh, yeah,
after
when the mech
everyone
cards were
was
new.
playing it,
It got so boring.
it got pretty
Yeah.
boring. Yeah, it was cool for a while though. I didn't mind it at the start.
The
Them
old
knuckle
plays that
crackings.
people used to roll their eyes over were the crazy Mech Warper shenanigans, and now it's all
Yeah, well, you had one
Patrons.
thing with the crazy Mech Warper shenanigans. You also had like, you the guy plays like Goblin Blast.
Goblin
and
Blast
kills, like
Mage.
3 different creatures.
Or just kills 1/4/4.
Yeah.
Just very casually.
4/4.
Yeah, like an
Like a
Ezra
Misha?
Drake.
Okay.
Yeah, you've never had your Ezra Drake Goblin Blast Mage to death?
Maybe. I don't
I
play
have.
that much construction, so.
I'll admit it, I played a lot of Mech Mage.
Alright. Well, there's Antonitis, which basically gives no information.
Well, it's Tempo Mage, Mana Worm, right?
Yeah.
And Mana Worm Ezra Drake. So some sort of Tempo Mage, maybe Machine Gun Mage, or just regular Tempo Mage.
Yeah, Reynad seemed to really like the super, like token spell heavy Tempo Mage, where he ran Toshli and double Mechanical Yeti.
Wow.
So it has a
Mechanical
chance to
Yeti's
just
a good card,
completely
though.
blow up. Yeah, it's a good card.
It's never going to be a bad card.
No, in this deck, being able to utilize the 1-mana spells is really good. Even just the deck itself synergizes with the spells because you have Antonitis as well. So it's not only Flamewaker, you have Antonitis also. The Finicky Cloakfield can win you games.
Yeah.
The Emergency Coolant is a huge tempo card.
With the Watcher already down from Roger, this Mirror Entity has gained quite a bit of value.
I'm actually surprised he chose the Watcher instead of Dark Bomb.
Yeah, me as well. Like, normally you want to hold on to your Watcher to use it to proc this Mirror Entity.
I think it had to do with
And I
the
think
Shadow
generally
Flame.
you don't want a Sorcerer Apprentice.
Yeah.
I think it had to do with the Shadow Flame because he wanted to make sure that he could have a Shadow Flame play before turn 6.
Well, Roger, I mean, I don't know if you saw the emotion in Roger, but those are wide eyebrows on that Fireball.
Yeah, oftentimes Mage saves Fireball for burn against Handlock, because that's generally the strategy. You get them kind of low and then burn them out. So it's interesting to see a Fireball going down on an inactive Ancient Watcher. Reynad really afraid of that Shadow Flame, wanting to preserve his board.
Yeah, he knew that if he had played, like, if he had a board of Mana Worm, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Azure Drake, if that board got Shadow Flamed,
It's over.
yeah, you lose a lot of your tempo. So I don't really blame him for doing that, but
Actually,
having the
don't
burn
like this
is really
Mirror
important.
Entity too much. You do the extra damage, but you kind of force your opponent to Hellfire. And if he does Hellfire, if he does have it,
Yeah.
it feels like it won't really work so well because probably going to guarantee a Belcher instead of a Giant.
Yeah, well, he got the coin out of the way, though, by bluffing the counterspell.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
kind of worked out for him.
Mhm.
Double Frostbolt.
Still has burn, though, and with the Hellfire, Roger's actually sitting at 17 health. Anti-Gilbot's actually pretty good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, procs the Mirror Entity, too.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, it's interesting he didn't choose to play it there and goes for the tap instead.
The thing is now you probably can't play it.
Yeah, because you got to get the Molten stuff first.
Fireball was actually lethal there.
I'll show them. I'll show them all.
Yeah, it's actually 2 off lethal.
Yeah, it's really close.
Yeah.
Well, I say you go for it.
Yeah, you've already used one of your burn spells. You're probably never going to get a chance to get him lower than this, so you might as well just try and go for it and hope that he doesn't have.
Thing is, like putting your opponent exactly at 10. Oh,
He's going
God.
to double
Yeah.
Molten Giant and Healbot.
Well, you got Mirror Entity up, so
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, that makes it awkward.
yeah. You're going to get a Molten Giant. He's got to, like, Molten Giant,
Yeah, that's
Molten
game
Giant
over.
Shadow Flame, and then... Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Reynad only has 7 damage, so he's 3 off.
Yeah.
And Roger has the heals to back this up.
Yeah, he's got Siphon Soul plus Anti-Killbot. Mirror Image off the top. That's not going to help him out. It's going to help him block some damage, which is okay, but...
Yeah, they're taking 8.
I think it's gonna help. I think it's gonna help quite a bit because if Roger heal bots and he has no taunt and he puts 3 damage, he can start the damage run again. And if he does Belcher, it has other problems.
Yeah.
And getting the Mirror Entity with the Anti-Killbot, like you said, is pretty good, because that's one of the weakest creatures.
I think you have to trade here.
Yeah, so that the Mirror Image can take another 8.
Yeah.
Siphon Soul isn't a card that not too many people run, but it's going to get a lot of value right here.
And it hits
Oh.
for 1. Oh, no.
Could have been worse. Could have been 1 on the Giant.
Yeah.
Wow, that worked.
Yeah.
Wow.
If it went face, he could have just Frostbolted it down.
Yeah.
But he really needs his burn.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't disagree with the Fireball play early on because that Shadow Flame could have ruined his day a lot earlier than it did, but
It just seems like it's going to be really hard for Reynad to finish this.
he needs Archmage Antonidas.
This is one of those matchups where the aggressive deck has like a window, and Reynad missed his window. He was just 2 damage off lethal at that key point.
Well, he got
Not
the
a
good
bad one.
Flame Cannon target, but I mean, every spell that he uses to clear off these creatures is a spell that he won't have for burn, and 18 health is a really safe spot for Roger.
Yeah.
So you can tell he's playing super fast. He knows that he's got the victory in his sights.
This is game point for Roger, and he's about to take it.
Yeah. Even if Reynad gets the Antonidas, which he needs,
Oh,
there it goes.
Why, hello there.
Roger has the Lotheb to beat it.
He might even think about just... Nah, he can't even save it because he's starting to take a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's got to go for this and get 2 fireballs out of it at least. Trying to go for all 3 fireballs, but Lotheb's going to stop that plan immediately.
Or Defender Vargas, he can just kill it outright.
I think he's just gonna try to kill it outright. I think he hit the bomb then, see what happens. Nope. Both the Vargas.
I got this.
And that was pretty much Reynad's last chance of being able to
Yep.
come out on that one. All right, he goes ahead and
Saves
concedes.
some time.
Yeah.
And Roger wins the series 3-1 over Reynad.
He's
gonna
really
be,
relieved there.
Yeah. He's going to be the first player in Group A to move on to that winner's match. He's got one more match to win if he wants to get to that playoff stage.
He'll have to defeat the winner of Waskaka and Doubleos.
Yep, exactly.
To get to that stage. It is a really big deal to win that first game because you have to only win 2 games rather than 2 out of 3 potential.
Yeah. So Reynad's got a pretty long day ahead of him then. He's got to play in the losers match, and if he wins that, he's got to win even one more match just to qualify for the round of 8.
Yeah,
So-
and then he's got to get up tomorrow and play the round of 8 if he's able to qualify. So
Getting up in the morning might be the hardest thing too.
Yeah. So there was a couple turns in the Warrior game where Reynad had some opportunities.
It seemed like a better line of play, but I don't know for sure.
yeah, there's really no way to completely tell. But yeah, I would have liked to see him go for it. I think he played a little bit passively as the Patron Warrior, which you tend to kind of want to do because you're a combo deck and you'd think I can just slow the game down and win with all my combos. But oftentimes just YOLOing out the Patrons against decks that don't have adequate AoE is correct.
But that draw from Roger was pretty sick.
The draw from Roger was the only reason why I was able to take it.
Yeah.
So.
Because otherwise that deck is pretty rough against the Patron Warrior. So, but as we mentioned, Druid sometimes can just have games where
nothing can beat him.
I'm kind of curious what that's like. Like you've played a lot of Druid.
Yeah.
What is that like? The close to unbeatable Druid draw. Is that like 1 in 5?
For me, it's like 1 in 15. I don't know. It's not very. It doesn't happen very much. Amaz, on the other hand, he's a very, very big Druid player. He loves Druid.
Okay.
I think he was the only person in like top 20 or top 15 or whatever he was last season playing Druid. And I watched him on the couch in the living room at the Archon house, and he just had that what Roger's hand was plus a little more every single game.
Okay.
So he knows what it's like.
Amaz is a very, very skilled Druid player. Well, we do have a winner interview ready with Roger on stage, who's standing by with Dan.
Thank you very much, TJ. That's right. I'm joined by Roger, the winner of the first match to start off day number 2. We're going to start off the question just asking about how Roger's doing because Reynad did look a little tired because he woke up late, but I'm wondering how Roger's doing as well because he's traveling straight from Via Game over in Romania. So my first question is Roger feeling all right? Because he started off the day well. Is he tired at all from traveling?
你最近去很多外国比赛，就是从 Romania 才过来，你还累还是你现在觉得怎么样？
我非常累。
He's very, very tired.
Yeah, I guess he's always tired if he's traveling so much. So, have you ever been to America before? And if so, how are you enjoying California? And, what's your favorite thing about it so far?
你还来过美国？这是第一次来过美国，然后呢，你现在还觉得加州很好，还是你觉得怎么样？
我觉得加州的天气还蛮好的。我第一次来美国，我觉得还蛮开心的。
He thinks California weather is really nice. This is his first time in America, and he's very happy to be here.
Have you had In-N-Out Burger yet?
你还吃过这个加州最出名的汉堡包？
是吗？
哦，
那还蛮好吃的，而且好大。
He said it's pretty delicious and it's pretty big.
I agree. Especially considering Taiwan, you can't really get the same amount of things. Okay, cool. And I guess the last question we want to ask is, now that Colento's been eliminated, you said in the interview that he was probably the player you're fearing the most, but he's no longer in the tournament. Is there another player you're worried about at all?
现在 Colento 被打败了，你还害怕哪个对手？
那可能都被打败，我还蛮难过的。我原本想找他报仇的，可是现在其他就我也不知道，就这样。
At first, he was kind of sad that Colento was eliminated because he wanted to get revenge. But now he's just looking forward to play whoever's next.
All right, well, you will play the winner of Osaka and Los. We don't want to take too much of your time. You do have another match, so good luck in your next match and congratulations. And with that, we're going to head over to TJ, who's on the couch with a couple of players who transitions to our next match in Group C.